If you haven't viewed the video about punctuating long sentences, I recommend you do so before viewing this video, or it may be confusing. Take a few seconds to read this passage. The company has approved a corporate governance manual that sets out how the company complies with the 10 essential principles of good governance, the roles and responsibilities of the company, its committees and senior management, standards and evaluation, and terms of reference for the committees. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Notice how the list items are separated by semicolons because the second list item is already punctuated. It has a comma as part of the item itself. And the reason for the semicolon before the introductory "and" at the end of the second last item is because of the "and" in standards and evaluation. What we want to do is convert the well-punctuated and grammatically correct long sentence into a vertical display list. There are 3 things to do. Remember, the lead-in is what we call the leader phrase. First, we add the colon at the end of the leader phrase and start a new line after it. Second, separate out the list items, being careful to avoid breaking them in the wrong place. And third, add the bullet points or numbered list items. As they aren't in any special order, I've added bullet points. Technically, this is the correct way to write a vertical display list that begins with a leader phrase. However, many companies prefer to use an initial capital letter for the first word of each list item, and often they remove both the terminal punctuation and the "and" at the end of the second last item. Whichever your company uses, please make sure it's consistently used, especially within a document. Let's consider a less complicated long sentence and how we would convert it into a vertical display list. In this one, we are using commas to separate the items in the sentence. There aren't any extra punctuation marks in any of the list items, so the use of commas to separate the items is the correct option. The second last item does not contain the word "and" or, and therefore you don't need the comma as well as the word "and" to introduce the last list item. First, we add the colon at the end of the leader phrase and start a new line after it. Second, separate out the list items, being careful to avoid breaking them in the wrong place. And third, add the bullet points or numbered list items. As they aren't in any special order, I've added bullet points. You can even choose to use just commas and remove the "and" altogether. Again, this is technically the correct way to transform a long sentence into a vertical display list. However, many business writers prefer to begin each item with an initial capital letter and remove the terminal punctuation altogether. They find this a neater option.